Hi, everybody. I'm Ann Morato. I'm the Director of Content Strategy. And today I am speaking with Steve Ellis. And Steve is the founder and director of the Untouchable Training, Apprentice Training and Academy. He's a cosmetology and barbering educator. He provides financial education, and he's the author of the book, Mindset of Acquiring Wealth. Steve was recently a panelist at our Modern Salon Independent Boot Camp. We were so happy to have him. But because we really didn't have time to dive into, a lot of questions, especially about finance, I'm really happy that he had time to continue the conversation with me today. So, Steve, welcome.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
It's great to have you. It's great to be able to talk to you and to talk financing and beauty and barbers. So
Gotcha.
I want to break down something that I've heard you say and that you shared on stage at boot camp. Um, you talked about many beauty and barbering professionals end up broke.
Yes.
Now, why do you say that? Why do you think that is?
Well, I was lucky enough. My dad was in the business since I was in junior high. And I had the opportunity to see a lot of people, barbers and cosmos, who were scared of, they wanted to make money, but they didn't know what to do with it. And they felt uncomfortable talking to financial people about what they should do with their money, sitting down and talking with someone in the insurance industry, in the investment industry, because they didn't think that they could handle those conversations. The challenge is because school teaches us how to be a professional in our industry, but it doesn't give us the total knowledge of what to do when we get that. And that's the same for a lot of people. You'll hear the same thing about doctors and lawyers. They're great doctors, but they don't know how to handle their money. And they make a lot of money. So my goal is to make sure that people in our industry understand what money is and how to make it work in their favor and not be fearful of the IRS, not be fearful to sit down and have a conversation with somebody about what do I do? How do I plan? How do I make sure that, when I'm 50 or 60 years old, that I'm cutting hair because I want to, not because I have to, and I've saved some money at the end of the day. So it's really all about saving money and understanding where to put that money that I try to talk to stylists about.
That's great because you're right. Sometimes that conversation, I mean, we don't know the questions to even ask.
Very true.
And you
Yes.
and you can, I mean, I think you can wonder who to go to, who is going to be reputable, who's going to not
Yeah.
take
And who to
advantage,
yeah, and who to trust, right, not take advantage, who to
who to
trust
trust.
at the
Yeah,
end of the day.
yeah. And that is a really big piece of it, I think,
Yeah.
because there are so many options and it gets a little dizzying.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you think needs to change in their understanding of finance? The barbers, the cosmetologists, the beauty school students. What do you think needs to change for them to better understand finance?
The process of money, like everybody talks about, okay, you got to make money, or they talk about budgeting, making money, pay your bills, and then save some money and then invest some money. Well, I think differently in that regard. I think the first thing you got to do is make your money. True. But the next thing you got to do is pay yourself first. Don't put the bills and the expenses ahead of you. Because at the end of the day, even when we do that, even when we work and pay the bills, we find enough money to save and do the things we want to do because our business allows us to work a little harder. If I got a trip, then normally I take 5, 6 clients a day. I may take 8 clients a day for the next week because I know I'm gonna need some extra money when I get ready to go to Hawaii. So we have that opportunity to play with our ability to make more money, but we put everything ahead of us. And it should be income, profit, then expenses, not the other way around, because you'll always find a way to pay your bills. But at the end of the day, paying the credit card, paying off the car, and all those things doesn't benefit you as much as paying yourself first would benefit you. And I use an example. I talk about saving money in the sense of like a house. Everybody wants to pay off their house, as opposed to making enough money to make sure that I've got income to pay the mortgage forever. Because even if you pay off the house, you still got bills. So gas, light, electricity, all that stuff is still there. And understanding the difference between assets and liabilities. Assets bring income, liabilities cost. So you want to put as many assets on your side as possible. And for us in this industry, we don't understand that. And that's what I'm trying to help.
And when you say pay yourself first, is that money is the money that you're saying, that's the money you're going to have those conversations about. That's the
Yes.
money that you're going to look at saving, investing, whatever needs to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I talk to, like I said, I teach. So I talk to a lot of students. And for my students, I get them to understand, and, I get them to understand what I call a tip plan. And if, most of the stylists out there will tell you, if you ask most stylists out there, how much money would you have if you just would have saved your tips when you started in this business? And all of them are going to be like, man, you just think of how much it is. And I talk about a tip plan with my stylists. And here's the tip plan. We talk about paying yourself first, or at least dedicating money to savings. If you do 5 clients a day, each client gives you a $5 tip. That's $25 a day. You working 5 days a week. That's $125 a week. And that's $500 a month. If you put that tips alone into a plan that is growing at a rate of 6%, compound interest, not simple interest, not in the bank, has to be in the right plan, and you do that for 30 years, you've saved over $180,000 in that plan. The interest has grown that to almost $400,000, and you can have a almost $40,000 a year income from 30 to 50, or from, well, I'm sorry, yeah, from, if you're starting at age 20, you can do that at age 50. You start at age 30, you can do it at age 60. You can have almost a $40,000 a year income tax-free for the rest of your life. And that's just with tips. So imagine if you throw a client or two in there to make that happen. And I try to get young people, but the biggest thing is discipline. I try to get them to understand that when you make that money, put the tip money in your right pocket, the other money in your left pocket. And if you're disciplined to that right pocket money, you're going to do well in savings and not be messing with that money. But if if you're worried about, oh man, I want to pay this bill off, and let me take this money over here to pay this bill real quick. That bill is not as important as you are to your life and to your family.
That's so helpful to have that I mean, that's going to stick with, I mean, those kind of $5 tip, week, month,
Yeah.
30 years. I mean, those sort of things stick in your head when you have those real concrete examples.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Oh, well, you kind of started to answer that, but for continue on this. What do you think needs to change in how beauty professionals run their businesses?
They're individual businesses. I mean, there's tons of stuff out there that talks about how to market, make more money, Don't be afraid to raise your prices, get paid what you're worth, doing all that. There's a certain fear that I don't understand that beauty industry lives in. You got people that are really nervous about raising their prices. Well, if I bring my prices, my clients ain't gonna come no more. They're not gonna pay. You can, but then you get mad when you don't raise your prices. You're doing that hair for X amount of dollars, and you see on your client's Facebook that she's down in Vegas spending tons of money, and you're like, I made her beautiful for $100, and she's down there spending $300 a night on a room when I was scared to raise my prices. And they need us just as much as anyone in their life. So again, get paid what you're worth. But when it comes to running your business, that's the shell that the business is in. What you want to really do is get the mindset of I'm as important as my clients. And especially I may be just as important to my family, the money I make, the income I bring in. So I need to make sure that I've got the ability to provide and protect for them. And that's through saving money, understanding how interest works, and knowing the right vehicles, the 401ks, using insurance, using things like that in order to get that money in the right place. And the thing about even putting the money in the right place is putting it someplace where the tax advantages are in your favor, because we make cash. So we can really manipulate our money because we make cash as opposed to a paycheck. So it's just a matter of where can I put this cash to do the best thing for me at the end of the day. And that's kind of where I show folks is where you can put this cash that will benefit you as opposed to, at home in the drawer. I got some other spots where the government ain't gonna see it and it's gonna give you a real return.
So you have a lot of experience inside cosmetology schools. You really understand what goes on there. How can cosmetology schools be part of the solution? You touched on this earlier that you don't think that education is made available, but what do you think cosmetology schools could do to help?
I am in the process right now of working with miladies because they've gotten to the point now. I think post COVID, everybody's kind of, changing the way they do things a little bit. So they're online platforms, but I've written, in addition to the book, because I wrote the book with a workbook with the understanding, because I taught this over an 8-week period, a chapter a week. Students get assignments and they have to go home and do things and ask questions and think about the process. So I've built a class that I'm trying to introduce into the Milady structure in order for the students in school to get this knowledge. And that class is also available just in an online platform. If you go to my website, it's stevedellis.com, you'll see classes and you'll see the Mindset of Acquiring Wealth class. And it's an 8-week class that someone can take that walks them through the process of week by week, what do I do? How can I learn? And focus on getting my understanding of getting my money right at the end of the day. So I wrote a class that discusses and walks you through this process of how to get it done. And I'm working with the schools, but if the schools don't want it, then I'm just, again, a platform like this is where I'm trying to introduce it to everybody out there to get that knowledge. And that class, allows you to week by week ask questions, and then you've got a connection to me as a consultant to come back and say, okay, what don't you understand? Let's walk you through it, because everybody's situation is individualized.
So that again leads really well into the question about your book, because obviously the book, the workbook, the class, they're all kind of part of a piece. So
yeah.
tell us a few little things about your book. What will it teach cosmetologists about financial literacy?
It starts at the very beginning. It talks about the difference between simple interest, compound interest, and how your money can grow. It talks about the difference between tax-free, tax-deferred, and taxable. And that's, your money can grow in those three ways. You can pay taxes every year on the growth, or you can defer the taxes till later, or you can not pay any taxes at all if you invest the money after you've already gotten paid the taxes on it. So, the average, see, for us, we're a little different because the average, let's say, individual gets a 401k. So that money is taken out before they even get it. But when they get ready to take it out, because they never paid taxes on it, they got to pay taxes on it when they take it out. They don't tell you that. So you get all this money in the 401k, you got 400,000, when in essence, if you're in a 40% tax bracket, you really only have 60,000 because they're going to tax the 40. We can get involved in investments that don't have that issue because we make cash, we don't get a paycheck at the end of the day. So it's about growing your money, and it's about how do I get my money back at the end of the day? How did they distribute my money back to me at the end of the day? Because you've got a lot of folks, in this generation, in the what is it, the 401k generation, that are realizing that, man, the money I thought I was going to get, again, they looked at that $200,000-$300,000 and thought they were set for life. But again, half of that is taxable, and the other half of that was in an investment of some kind that lost money. So we also talk about where to put your money, where you don't lose money. It's not in the market at the end of the day, because I'm a savings guy. You can invest in crypto and do that other stuff. That's fine. I'm going to talk to you about how to save money and the right place to save money at the end of the day. And it gets into, again, we talk about budgeting, living within your means. And I don't want to say, I hate saying that because people think that means they can't enjoy life. But at the end of the day, we have a issue. Like I talk to my students all the time, and I say, look, you guys are in school. The first thing you're probably thinking about when you graduate and start making some money is what you want to buy. The car, the new car, the clothes. You want to be able to get the real Gucci purses, not get them fake ones no more, the whole 10 yards. That's what you're thinking about. Why aren't you thinking about saving money? Now that you've made some money, why aren't you thinking about saving? You immediately start to think about what you can spend it on. And I'm trying to reverse that mindset. And that's what the book kind of talks about, is reversing that mindset. You're doing clients all day long, and you got a nice little Honda Accord, and you drive your Honda, because cars ain't no big thing to you. But somebody said something one day about, if she making all that money, she wouldn't be driving that Honda. So what do? You want to go out and buy a BMW to shut them up. Why? Why do you care what other people are thinking? But again, the world is that way. And because we are independent and we can do those things, we are that way too. And we've got to get out of that kind of mindset.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've got to tell them you're going to be able to drive that Honda 200,000 miles. Yes. It's going to last forever.
Forever. Why are you getting that thing to shut somebody up?
Well, I'm so glad we got to talk about this a little bit more, but I know people are going to want to dive even deeper. Yeah. And they're going to be able to do that if they can access some of your coaching, your training, your book, your education. So Steve, tell us how they can get your book and how they can reach you to follow up or connect.
Okay. The book is available at Amazon.com. It is, you need to go to Amazon.com, type in books, talk about the mindset of acquiring wealth. You can purchase the book there along with the workbook. It is also available on audible.com because I like to listen to my books. So if you go to audible.com, you can download it to your phone and listen to it while you're driving or while you're working. And as far as the classes are concerned, the class, if you go to stevedellis.com and you go to classes, then you're going to see the link where you can enroll into the Mindset of Acquiring Wealth class. There's also a Be the 10% class, which is a class that is really, it's kind of, it's an intro to, for young folks that are coming into the business. So it talks about how do you get your DBA? How do you get your LLC? What are the things you need to do structurally to set up your individual business? And then there's some videos with me talking about the difference between booth rent and commission and how much it costs to set up a salon. And if you're going to own a shop, okay, if I'm an owner of a booth rent shop, what's the difference in owning a booth rent shop and a commission shop? Because there are differences. And if I'm a worker, what's the advantages or disadvantages in working in a booth rent or a commission shop? And it talks a little bit about suites, how that, has become a new thing where everybody wants to get in their individual suites. So it kind of discusses a lot of those things in totality. And then the Be the 10% class, the, Salon 101, we call it, is also discusses a deep dive into me breaking down what taxable is, what tax deferred is, what tax free is. When you talk about distribution, how do I get my money? We get into a lot deeper dive into all of those things, hopefully to give stylists a better understanding of where to go and what to do in that regard. So everything is like Steve and Steve D. Ellis. You'll see a link for the book. You'll see a link for the classes, a little bio on me. So he just kind of gives an overview, of everything. And then, of course, you can follow me on social media. Geez, I got to look at that. I always forget my social media stuff. Let's see. The Instagram is, hold on, let me see. It is Mr. Steve Ellis is the Instagram, and it's also at untouchableaa.com.
Right.
So, both of those things is where you can see my social. We post a lot of stuff. I did a chapter by chapter kind of review of the book on social media. So you can go
Oh,
there and
that's great.
kind of hear what it, a little bit of what every chapter is about in that regard. So we're trying to get the information out there to, I love this industry. And I think, the people in this industry are as important to, we are as important to our clients as their doctor, their dentist, anybody. They will come and see us
Absolutely.
before they'll go to they'll self-medicate at CVS, but they will not go to CVS and buy their own hair colors. They'll come see us for that kind
You're preaching to the choir.
of stuff.
I totally agree. And I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you for, I know how busy you are, but thank you for just giving us a little bit more to think about. And it's great to see you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to October.
We're looking forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, looking forward to
Take care.
October.
All
You
right.
too now. You not.